11:30 podcast. It's Odie Breeze, baby. Dre on wheels. You know it. Now where you was when a nigga was messed up? Where you was I was on my ass. I was stuck in a tree, ain't nobody help me out. Ain't nobody help me down. I was faded, I was drinking, I was popping a molly, I wasn't thinking. But I'm grown now, so it's back to the basics. I'm living my life, and this love is amazing.
Yo, what it do, everybody? This your man Dre, aka Dre on Wheels. Welcome back, you guys, to a new episode of the 11:30 podcast. What's goody? How everybody doing out there? Appreciate you guys joining me back here for a new episode. You dig, man? Good morning, good night, good afternoon to all my subscribers, all my listeners all across the world, man. Appreciate you guys joining me back here on YouTube for a new episode. You dig, man? If you new, if you guys new, I appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. Like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe, man. Yes, of course, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss an episode of the 11:30 podcast each and every Tuesday, man. We back, man, for real. And also, you guys, man, don't forget to follow the 11:30 podcast on all social media platforms. But you guys, man, I'm back here, new week, new episode. I hope everybody weekend was great, and hope everybody day is going well. And once again, appreciate you joining me here on the 11:30 podcast. For this week's episode is going to be a great one, you guys, man. I got my guy Gatorlive all the way, you guys, from the ATL, repping Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He's in the building, you guys. He's the host of Down 5 Podcast and the co-host of Dope Discussions with Erica. That's a dope podcast, you guys. They just reached 3,000 listeners. Go check it out, man. It's a very, very dope podcast, you guys, man. Follow him, man. Dope Discussions with Erica and Down 5 Podcast, man. Dope podcast. But like I was saying, you guys, man, my man Gatorlive, man, all the way from the ATL. What's going on with you, my guy?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on? That is Gatorlive. That's me, Alligator Aloysius. Be there at y'all's service. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, by the house of Scallywags. We appreciate you tuning in to hear little old me. Oh, and by the way, we actually have 25,000 views on Facebook as far as that live show, Dope Discussions with Erica. That comes to everybody every Sunday night, 7:30 Eastern. We're going to bring you that dope. And of course, like you said, Down 5 Podcast, me and my partner, Ralston McGee, try to drop a lot of misogyny during our podcast. So, yeah, it's a fun thing, man. I'm glad to be here.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you joining me here on the podcast. For a lot of people or some people who may not be familiar with you, Gator, may you introduce yourself and, tell me a little bit something about you.
Well, like I said, my name is Gator Live. George Livas, whatever they want to call me, but I go by Gator. If you say Gator, most people know who I am. Originally from Louisiana, man. I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, born and bred. Shout out to everybody down there, Bird Station, Go Sound, all them folks. But yeah, man, I've been here in the A for about 8 years, man. I got moved up here on some corporate stuff. And I've just been kind of, doing my thing, gallivanting and all that kind of stuff for a long time. And been getting into this podcast thing for the last year. I've been almost forced into it, because people been trying to push me to do it, man, for years. And now that I'm doing it, I'm doing a lot of it. So, I'm always good with doing it too, man.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. You say you co-host Down 5 Podcast, and you also on the podcast Dope Discussions with Erica. Can you tell me a little bit about both of those podcasts?
Well, let me start with Dope Discussions, man, because Dope Discussions is one of those podcasts, man, that I'm extremely proud of, bro. To be completely honest, Erica and I, we've never met in person ever.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
But we instantly, man, the second we started kind of interacting online, bro, it just kind of clicked. And, I was doing actually a guest spot on her show. She had a show that she was just starting, the Code of Sisterhood. And she's like, I want a male perspective on some stuff, so I'm going to bring you on as a co-host, that's, for this particular episode. I said, okay. So she hit me up. She said, you know what? I think we just going to make this a whole show. And it's been kind of kicking ever since, man. We've had all kinds of, great guests, man, from, Ro Harris, who's soon to be you're going to see her on Lifetime and some of these other networks soon. Kevin Hoffman, a lot of people who write books the majority of what we talk about, man, is like I said, just dope discussions. We talk about relationships a lot. We talk about those questions that a lot of people don't like to ask about. For example, tonight's topic is going to be about dating with kids. What are the guidelines for dating with kids? How should you proceed when you have kids and you want to be in a intimate relationship with somebody? When is sex too quick? When are those things? So those are things that, we talk about all the time. We want to make sure that we bring awareness to a lot of issues that are affecting the Black community right now. And we want to talk about them in an open forum, man, that people can actually sit back and listen to and chill, get their little cup of tea on a Sunday night, man, and chill out.
That's what's up.
Down 5 is a completely different monster. That was the one that I actually, that was the first one. Down 5, man, is me and my co-host, Roston McGee, man. We met through, his ex-fiance, actually. And we have clicked ever since. And we are, when I say we are the most misogynistic podcast out there, we say it tongue in cheek, but when you listen to it, you understand why we say that. We are not going to hold and pull any punches with any type of scenario with any females or whatever, because sometimes you want to hear the male perspective about something raw and uncut. You don't necessarily want to hear the watered down version of things, the politically correct version of things. Right. And we make sure, we call ourselves, hey, my co-host is a white guy, and we call each other the most racist people on earth. We go back and forth with it all the time. I mean, we just live to entertain people, man. With him having a music background, me having a music background, it just kind of flowed naturally. And we talk about, I would implore your listeners to listen to the episode Turner and Pipes from a couple of weeks ago, and they'll understand exactly what Dial 5 does. And I would warn people, we love being guests on other people's shows. Know this, if you bring us on your show, be ready, because it's gonna go off the rails real quick.
It's a dope podcast, man. I was listening to it. It's really dope, man. The Down 5 podcast with you and your boy Roasting, man. You said you was forced into podcasting to do it. How did that come about?
So the big thing, man, is that, people have always pushed me saying that, oh, you have a radio voice. That's been since back in the day. They'd be like, oh, man, your voice is so soothing. Your voice just is so relaxing. You need to be doing some Sweat Hotel type stuff. But it's always been that way with me. And I've had people, like I say, continue over the years to push me to put my voice out there in some capacity. Podcasting, like I said, I did music back in the day and all that kind of stuff, but podcasting seemed to be almost a natural fit. And it was an unintentional fit, to be completely honest. I have reptiles. And one of the things I was doing right before we jumped on today is I'm doing some snake maintenance today. So I'm legit going through my snake tanks and changing out the bedding, getting them together. My big girl, Gamora, she's 5 feet and she's only 2. She's going to be probably about 9 feet in the next couple years. Boa constrictor, by the way, lipstick albino jungle. I have 2 other pythons, ball python morphs, and people, when they see me and they think of me and they look, they say, I don't know. I would never peg you for that, but guess what? It's what it is. But yeah, so I went by Ralston's place. We have his, like I say, his ex-fiance, which was a friend of mine. And they just wanted me to show off my snakes and stuff. And then it became another thing where it was pretty a popular episode. He said, well, man, come back on, And I came back, and next thing you know, it was just this reoccurring thing. It just became a rapport. And then, I don't know, we started introducing tequila into the mix, and it became a whole different monster after that, man.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. I'm going to hold that thought right there on the snake situation. I'm going to go right back to that. The Dope Discussion podcast with you and Erica. I was listening to it last night. Like I said, dope podcast. I seen Ashley the host of Audaciously Me. She was
I
on my
love Ashley,
podcast.
man.
Yeah, she was on my podcast back in August. I love the topics that you guys were talking about. One of them was is love enough to sustain a relationship?
Yeah.
And definitely the other one is love, a choice and a feeling. You know, I was talking to my fiance yesterday and asked her the question, you know, just like all you guys said, you know, I feel as though it's both. You feel me? Because after you get past, you know, that feeling, them butterflies, you know, in the beginning, and, you know, what, like you said, you know, I choose to wake up to you, your breath gonna be, you know, cranking on that.
Right, man.
You feel me? So
it's true.
Yeah.
It's true, man, because, you know, number one, tomorrow ain't promised to nobody. And good health ain't promised to nobody, you know, every day. You know, I mean, you'll have a scenario. I've seen couples where, you know that the one of their mate has a stroke or something. And that's when things get tested, man. That's when things get hard. When you say those vows, for better or for worse, for sickness and in health, man, you got to take it serious. You can't just walk out on somebody because, you know, they had an unfortunate incident happen to them. You know, it is a choice to be there, but you have to, once you make that choice, you need to stand by that choice, you know, and be committed to that choice. Now, if that person is just dogging you down, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when times get hard, you actually suck it up and get right there in it, man.
Yeah. That's some real cool stuff and well said. We're gonna move on here on the 1130 podcast. Before we do, I want to send a special shout out to a former guest who was on the show, my guy Eric Patrick Thomas. He sent in his shirt. I got it, the expired shirt. Appreciate you. I'm gonna take my picture, and you know when it's come out, obviously he's gonna see it. And speaking of expire, I gotta ask you, what inspires you?
Man, so when I wake up in the morning, man, the first thing that crosses my mind usually is my son. You know, he's down there in Louisiana. I don't get to see him all as much as I want to, you know, outside of video calls and things like that. You know, it's not one of those things that I can actually go and do every day. But I tell you one thing, you know, the actions that I take in my life are all kind of predicated around what would my son think of me, man. You know, quick little story, man. I used to be involved in music, man. They used to call me the Dirty South's Dirty Mouth, because I used to go off on all kinds of crazy, say the most random, stupid stuff there is to say. And when my son was born, man, I remember holding him one day, and I don't know why it came to me. I sat there and I thought about it. I said, I wouldn't want to play any of my music for him. And when I sat back and thought about it, I was like, why is that? This is something I was proud of before. And what I had to realize, man, is that children a lot of times inspire change in you.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. You know, holding him, you know, having that life in my hands, man, and knowing that I am going to take a huge part in molding his life and what he wants to be and what he needs to be. And I have to take that role seriously. So yeah, man, when I get up in the morning, that's the first thing I think about is I want to make sure that, you know, I'm living a life that he would be proud of and say, hey, look, that's my daddy right there, you know?
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. You got to cherish those moments, man. Cherish those moments, and also cherish the people while they here, you know, and not while they gone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I see your jersey. You're a big sports fan.
Definitely, man. I'm a huge sports fan. I'm not as big into the NBA as I used to be back in the day. I don't think most people are, to be honest. But I'm big into football. And I always say, you know, the big thing is when I had a basketball body, I used to be way into the NBA and everything. But as that body became a football body, you know, I started kind of gravitating a little bit more to the NFL and to college sports. You know, I'm a LSU alumni, go Tigers. You know, it was a bad season this year, but we shut it down last year. And also, of course, the New Orleans Saints. You cannot be from Louisiana and be a Saints fan. If you are, I question your Louisiana card. We might have to revoke it. You know.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Are you a big Kobe fan? Even though you say you weren't, you know, into basketball a whole lot, but
I was a big Kobe fan, man. I think Kobe just looking at him as a full body of work and the things that he was able to accomplish, man, on the court, there's not been many who could do it and do it like him. There's people out there that self-proclaim themselves to be the greatest, that if I put them on a court with LeBron, put them on the court with Kobe or put them on the court with Mike, I don't know if they would hang. So I got much respect for Kobe, man. It was sad. It was. I think that was when we knew 2020 was gonna get real.
Yeah.
When that happened, because that happened right at the beginning of the year, man. And it just seemed like everything took a downward trajectory as far as like the news cycle went after Kobe passed.
Yeah, you're right about that. And I say cherish people while they're here, and and also, with celebrities and Kobe, passing at the beginning of the year, he's the highest paid dead celebrity right now. That's wild, man. That's really wild.
Yeah, man. But that just goes to show you, bro, that a lot of times, man, people can make a mark and not even realize the mark that they're making. They can't even realize the size of the mark or the size of the imprint that they're putting on the world. When this person isn't even here anymore. But guess what? His family, his family's family, this family coming up in the future, they're gonna all be straight because he made such an impact that people are still craving seeing him, craving looking at and reviewing and researching his body of work. That means a lot, man.
Yeah, you're right. We're gonna move on the podcast, but I'm gonna go back to what you was talking about, man. You are a big fan of snakes, and I seen it on your Instagram, man. And I was like, wow, okay, he's into that. So we got you into, boa restrictors and big snakes.
Man, here's the thing, bro. So I've always been into animals in general. Heck, my stage name was Gatorlive. There's a reason behind that too, but that's a long story too. Well, not really that long, but yeah, man. So I've always been into animals. Since I was a little boy, man, I was a little nerd. I was a little dude who was, trying to, jump in there and play with the frogs and all that kind of stuff and researching stuff. So I don't know. I always was into it. I thought about going to school for veterinary medicine and all that kind of stuff, but I didn't really feel like cutting on nothing. So it began as a running joke with me and my mom, where I was 12 years old. I was like, Mom, I want to get a snake. She's like, no, you can't do it. So every other week I would be like, yeah, okay, wait till I get that snake in the room. No, you're not gonna get no snake. Boy, you're not gonna get a snake until you leave this house. When you leave this house, you do anything you want to. So when I moved out the house, the very first thing I did was went and bought a snake.
Wow.
And I brought it by her place and she fell out. She was like, look, I know who house I'm not coming to visit. But and like I said, it began as kind of a little joke, but the more I, started dealing with them and the more I had to research about care and all that, the more I kind of grew to appreciate them and the more I grew to actually, love caring for them. And, over time, it got to a point where, people at the pet store, the local pet store in the area be like, hey, we have this snake that's sick. We don't know what to do with it. We can't sell it. We can't keep it in the cage. Do you mind taking it home and, giving it the B12 shot, B6 shots that it needs or do it? Okay, no, I'll do it, and I gained experience in working with them after that. And after a while, man, it just became like a passion of mine. And to this day, that still extends, man. I still got a passion for keeping them and raising them and just got an understanding and respect and appreciation for reptiles in general, but snakes especially.
Okay, that's a really cool story, man. From there, we're gonna move on, you guys, to the question of the week. Some of you guys may fear snakes, though, but I'm gonna ask all you guys, all my subscribers, and also my man Gatorlive right here. What is your biggest fear in life?
Failing.
Okay.
My biggest fear is, you know what? I take that back. My biggest fear isn't failure, because failure, to be honest, is part of life. Because failure is the precipice for a course correction. Sometimes if you're doing something, one of the things I have a motto, if at first you don't succeed, ask somebody who's already succeeded how it's done, so that you could progress. My biggest fear isn't actually the failure. It's not knowing that I'm failing. Like, basically, I don't like to make mistakes that I'm not aware of and can't course correct. If I know I'm messing up, I can go in and change things. But if I don't know I'm messing up and I'm on the completely wrong side of the fence, then it's hard for me to course correct that later. Everybody makes mistakes. I just don't like to make those mistakes and continue making those mistakes just because of my own ignorance, which is why I do research a whole bunch of stuff, which is why I stay with my nose in books and, online trying to find out stuff, study to show thyself approved is a verse from the Bible, and it's the truth, and that's my biggest fear, of being ignorant to the mistakes that I'm making.
Well said. Well said, man. One of my biggest fears is, being mistaken for someone else. And a lot of people get mistaken for someone else, but also, I was watching this docuseries on Netflix called Trial 4. It's about a guy named Sean Ellis. He went to prison back in 1993 where they said he killed the detective, but he didn't do it. The cop who was involved the cop who got shot, and all the detective, like 3 other detectives that was really involved in the case, were all in it and everything. So, and then the detective had a crew background. The only thing about it is the Sean Ellis guy, the reason why he went to prison for 20 years, because he was at the Walgreens buying Pampers, outside where the cop was sleeping, and he got shot.
Yeah.
So
I saw that the preview come up, and I was like, oh, that seems like it's gonna be interesting to watch. And I hadn't got a chance to sit down and watch it yet, but yeah, I definitely want to watch it. It sounds like it's a real good, and I can understand being scared of that.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, that's one of my other fears. My biggest fear is that failure. My other fear is getting locked up and not being able to get out.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't do good in surroundings like that, bro. I don't.
Yeah.
I was in a holding cell one time for 24 hours. It wasn't even a full 24 hours, bro. I felt like I was about to die. I was about to fight. It wasn't I can't do that. Can't do it.
Yeah. Because people be like, what's going on, Dre? I'm like, I don't even know you. Man, like, oh, you somebody? And I'm like, nah, come on. That person you might think I am may owe you some money, and nah. Right.
Mistaken identity could be I've lost friends to that. It's a tragic scenario, and you don't want to see that. You especially when it has to deal with law enforcement and when it has to do with black men, because we've always had that adage, oh well, we all look alike to them.
Mm-hmm.
But that does nothing to reinforce that when you see an issue like the one that happened in Trial 4.
Yeah. But we're gonna move on here, you guys, on the 1130 podcast. Gator, you down to play a game?
Always, man. What we got?
Okay, we're gonna play a game of Who Am I? Who am I? I'm gonna give you some clues. And stuff.
All right.
And you gotta guess who am I?
Okay.
We're gonna do a couple of rounds of this. All right. I travel the world and I'm drunk constantly. Who am I?
I was about to say me, but wow. I would say travel the world. Hey, about a bottle of wine.
You said a bottle of wine?
Yeah.
Okay. Water.
Water?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's true. Water too. You already know where my head's at.
Yeah, I already know. I knew you right there because it said drunk constantly. So I knew that was gonna be the first one.
You know where my head's at when it comes to something like that.
Okay. Next one. We are funny as hell. Crack smoke is in our body. Titties are a must. Who am I?
Wow. Man. You know, I was about to say Marion Barry, but I would say maybe a crackhead. You got to be a crackhead. I'm just trying to I'm trying to focus in on what crackhead you might be. You got to be a female crackhead because you said titties. Let me see. If Whitney's not here no more, or she don't do crack, because crack is whack.
I give you a hint because you know from the South, so I kind of like threw that one in, and you know was hoping that maybe you could guess that one.
Look, when you said that, the first thing I thought was Ernestine off of 38th Street. That sums up like about half of the crackheads I know.
The answer is the 85 South Show. Yeah, the 85 South Show.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I can follow that now. I can follow the reference a little bit. I was look. I know crackheads.
All right. There we go. I spend the most of my day eating white. When I'm quick enough, I get rewarded with fruit and something blue. In a dark room with blue walls, I run from the ghosts that roam the halls. Who am I?
I would say you are Mario or Luigi from Super Mario.
You got the video game concept right though, but Pac-Man.
Pac-Man? Oh, you know what? Well, I guess mushrooms ain't really fruit. I guess they not fruit. You know, but I was sure thinking Mario. When you said rooms of blue, I was thinking about the little brick level on Mario. So yeah. Okay.
I like things a certain way. My energy is off when I'm not on set. I love my privacy. Who am I?
A camera.
A camera?
Final answer.
Cardi B.
Cardi B.
My energy is off when I'm not on set. Her first album was Invasion of Privacy. So
true.
Okay.
I know. No. Boo.
Okay. I own a football organization. I am the highest paid actor. The people love me. Who am I?
Yeah, he owns a football organization,
Mm-hmm.
and he's the highest paid actor. Well, because you know that I'm a huge wrestling fan, you already knew I was gonna have this one almost automatically. But I would say Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock.
You're right about that. Yes.
Oh snap! I got one. Okay.
Yes, The Rock. He owns the XFL now. He bought the XFL from under Vince McMahon.
Yep.
Here we go. If you have me, you want to share me. Once you share me, you won't have me. Who am I?
How did that weed I bought last night?
I know that's right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody gonna be like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, let me hit that right there. You know, I'm not gonna say the blunt. I started to say that. But yeah, you know what? I don't know. Look, that's as good an answer as any. Yeah, I think, you know what? I'm gonna go with the blunt. Final answer.
Final answer? Yeah. A secret.
A secret? Oh. See, as you can tell, inebriation and intoxication is part of my whole makeup. You know? That's my default mode right there.
That's good. That's cool. I'm despised by many. I don't pay rent, but I live there. Our troops are often raided. Who am I?
I got two answers for this. You either gonna be the roaches or the ants.
Yeah, you the roaches. Yeah, roaches.
I don't even like saying roaches in my place because I don't even want to like bring up the chakra. I don't need no type of. I don't need that in here.
Exactly. Final one. I stay busy. I have dope discussion. I'm down 5. Who am I?
Well, you Gator beater, baby.
Yeah. That's what's up. Hey, I appreciate you.
Now here's the crazy part right here. So when you mentioned the game earlier, I misunderstood what the game was about because I was thinking that it was like I had 10 questions to ask you to get the understanding of what you were.
Mm-hmm.
So the questions I had was, are you a person? Do you run? Mm-hmm. What color are you?
Oh,
you know what I mean? So that's the questions I had in that scenario. So now I feel bad because I misunderstood what you were saying. So I apologize for that particular misunderstanding.
No, it's cool. It's cool. But yeah, I am a person though. Yeah.
Oh, right. I hope so. You know?
I appreciate you just playing the game. Who am I? But you guys, man, me and Gatorlive here on the 1130 podcast, just chilling and chopping it up here. But you guys stick with me. We're gonna take a quick short break, and when we come back, we're gonna chat some more. Got the WTF moment questions by April, you guys. Sit tight. We'll be right back here on the 1130 podcast.
You have a lot to say. Maybe you've thought, I should start a podcast. Meet Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast ever. It's a powerful mobile app and web tool that lets you record a podcast anywhere and distribute it everywhere. It's great whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out. And it's 100% free. You can record your show straight into Anchor on your phone, iPad, or the web, using any mic you want. Record alone or with friends or co-hosts anywhere in the world. You can add background music and transitions, and your listeners can send you voice messages that you can incorporate right into your next episode. If you want to produce your show using another app, you can upload your own audio directly from web or mobile, and still take advantage of Anchor's totally free podcast hosting. Once your podcast is ready to publish, Anchor can automatically distribute it to every major podcast platform. That includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, so your listeners can hear your show wherever they want. And on the web, you can see detailed analytics about how people are listening. Plus, you'll get a great-looking profile page where anyone can listen to your podcast or subscribe to it. And if you want to ask your audience to support your work, Anchor makes it easy to collect monthly payments from the people who love your podcast and want to see it grow. You really don't need a recording studio, expensive equipment, or a bunch of technical knowledge to deal with a podcast feed. Just get started and join the diverse community of podcasters already on Anchor. We can't wait to hear your podcast.
Hey, you guys, welcome back here to the 1130 podcast. Appreciate you guys sticking with me throughout the commercial break. I got my guy Gatorlive here on the 1130 podcast, chatting it up with me, having some fun. We'll be back here on the podcast. Appreciate you guys joining me.
Oh, yeah.
You say you're a music guy and you were into music. Next week, we got a new versus battle coming out. And it's Gucci Man versus Young Jeezy. I gotta ask you, who you got right there?
Good question. So when I was thinking T.I. was gonna be involved in this, my answer was different. As much as I love Gucci, I think Jeezy's gonna take it only because the way that these versus battles get judged has nothing really to do with the likes and the hearts of the people. It has all to do with the billboard.
Yeah.
Which is why I felt that T.I. versus Busta, when Busta was like, yeah, I'll take T.I., and I felt that T.I. backing down from it, was a good idea. It had nothing to do with, I'm a bigger T.I. fan than I'm a Busta fan.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the way that these verses are set up, when people start talking, all Bus is gonna do is start just throwing out some nostalgia stuff that's gonna get people jumping. He gonna go back to '93. If people had enough, give me some more. You know what I'm saying? And get everybody jumping. And then T.I., because his stuff isn't as commercial, he would end up losing marks for it. I mean, like I say, personally, I feel like T.I. is the better rapper. I feel like T.I. has the better music. But when they put it in that environment, it's a different monster. Same thing with Gucci and Jeezy. I feel like because Jeezy has a little bit more exposure, especially Billboard exposure, I think it's going to be a win for Jeezy. Now, of course, I can't count Gucci out because I'm going to be riding with Gucci during this whole thing anyway. But, it's one of those things where while I'm going to be riding with Gucci, I think, at least in the media and in the press, they're going to have it as a win for Jeezy.
Okay, I'm right. I'm with you on T.I. though. I would have loved to see T.I. versus Jeezy though. He did back out with Busta though, but T.I. is my man right there. T.I. my man. But
man.
Between Gucci and Jeezy, I think I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Jeezy. I'm right with you. Gucci is the man though, but Jeezy, Well, also you like I was saying, you're a music person. If you could have a versus battle with anybody, who would it be?
If I could put together, there's a couple of them I want to put some versus battles together for. To be honest, I want to see. Diddy was out there a few weeks ago talking about he'd love to do a versus battle with somebody, and everybody was like, "Well, who he gonna do a versus battle with?" You know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see a Diddy versus Dr. Dre versus battle. I really think that who got more plaques on the wall than Diddy? Possibly Dre. I think that would be a hell of a versus battle. I mean, my dream versus battle, of course we can't have it, unfortunately, but my dream versus battle would be UGK versus 8 Ball and MJG. Let's go and
that would be
and see how that runs. I think that would be awesome. At least it'd be awesome for me. But yeah, man, I really want to see Diddy versus Dre. I think that'd probably be the versus battle to end the versus battles. Right there.
Okay. Diddy versus Dre. I think I'm gonna go with Dre. I don't know. Diddy got some hits though, but
man, you know what? I guess it depends on. I want to go with Dre. I want to go with Dre. But then I think about the fact that Diddy does have a lot of production credits on stuff, man. And he'll be pulling out some 112 stuff. He might pull out all kind of craziness.
Yeah, you're right about that. So, you're right about that.
I mean, hey, it would be. I would love it. It would be almost a default East Coast versus West Coast battle. Hey, I would love it, man. I'm here for it.
Okay. I'm with Dre though. We're gonna move on here, you guys. The 1130 podcast. It's time, you guys, for questions by April, you guys. April sent in questions, and I'm gonna ask my man Gatorlive some questions right now. Down to ask some questions?
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right. What are 3 things you could buy at the grocery store to make the cashier give you a weird look?
As a man, tampons, condoms, and a silk head wrap. Because then at that point, they don't know what's going on.
I dig you on the condom ones. I got that look before.
Yeah, I didn't have that look before a lot of times. That's why I'm so glad that Walmart has that self-checkout line now.
Yeah. All right, man. I was at CVS one time buying some condoms, and I guess I wasn't supposed to look at her. I looked at her, she was like, what? Like, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, but yeah. All right. What is the scariest dream you ever had?
The scariest dream I ever had? Now, for all of the 1130 listeners, y'all better not laugh, and I better not see you in my mentions. But the scariest dream I ever had was when I was I had to be maybe about 9 or 10 years old, and I had a dream that I was getting chased by these like 40-foot tall chocolate donuts. And I was running, like I was terrified in this dream. Like I'm running under these like bridges and stuff, and they running through things, and I'm trying to jump in little holes, and they running over, and then they just come back, and I'm just like, what is happening here? Like I was like literally scared for my life. Like I woke up in a sweat. You know, I had tears in my eyes. Like I'm being chased down with so. You know, that was quite scary.
Okay, that is interesting. If you could be an animal, which animal and why?
You know, the easy answer to this would be an alligator. You know, you know, because that is my namesake. You know, I got that name honest. Man, if I could be an animal, I would like to be the Obama's dog.
Oh, that's what's up.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't just want to be a dog. I want to be the Obama's dog because I know he's good taken care of. He a made man.
That's what's up. What is your pet peeve?
Oh, my pet peeve, bro, is people making me out to say something that I didn't say. Like I'm really big on like trying to get to an understanding, and if I feel misunderstood, it's a problem, and it agitates me because I know I'm gonna put forth effort to try to understand what you're saying. So I feel like you need to put forth some effort to understand what I am saying. So if you don't understand and my communication is failing, I'm gonna take the effort to make sure the communication is right. But when people are not receptive to that, that's a problem for me. Okay. You know, I don't like people calling me a liar, in other words. Don't call me no lie.
All right. What skills do you wish you had and why?
Man, so I got a lot of skills I wish I had. You know, I'd be making a lot more money with some of them skills. You know what? One of the things I used to want to do back in the day was learn how to play guitar. Like I learned how to play the piano, you know, a little bit, you know, but I always wanted to get on there and learn how to play the guitar because I felt like that was always like, you know, I got stuck on that old Babyface "When Can I See You Again" video, and I used to be a big fan of Tony, and I see them playing the little guitar and all that kind of stuff, and I just imagine me coming up to a girl, now it may be cold on the East Coast, you know, just strumming it out. So yeah, if I had a skill that I would, it would have to be playing the guitar, man. I would love to be able to do that.
Okay, that's cool. What's the weirdest thing that someone has caught you doing?
Having sex on the back of an 18-wheeler trailer. Y'all don't want to know. We was on the top of an 18-wheeler. Y'all don't want to know.
Okay, all right. Have you ever sent a text to the wrong person? If so, what was it?
I have, but fortunately, it was a text that was supposed to be going to a chick that I was interested in, and it ended up going to my ex. Oh, and wow. It kind of worked out because my ex was like, you know, I've been feeling like this all along. Oh, well, okay. So I was saved right there. It didn't go to my mom or something like that. That would have been a problem.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
I was talking about some craziness.
If you had to be stuck in a room for 24 hours, who would you choose to be stuck with?
Probably Neil deGrasse Tyson. You know, because he's one of those people, you know, who's like super smart, and I feel like he'll have, you know, some awesome tidbits for me and some conversation about some things. He would probably be number one, but coming in a really, 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 really close second, and they might be 1A and 1B, it'd be Jeff Bezos. Like I'd like to get in there and just kind of pry his brain and then be like, hey, look, man, let your boy hold just a Billy, bro. Just a Billy. All you got to give me a Billy. Just give me like a half a Billy. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, he can do that. Light work for him. So.
Okay. If you had to eat one food for 24 hours, what would it be?
Shrimps. Love shrimp, seafood, stuff like that. So it has to be shrimp.
Okay.
I can do shrimp all day.
Okay. Cool. Last one. How do you feel about the election?
I feel that it's a good thing that we elected a new president. I don't have a whole lot of hate for Donald Trump. A lot of people have hate for him. It's not that I understand, what it was, and it is what it was. And what it was basically a scenario where he used to push people's buttons on purpose, and everybody fell for it. I think we have a much better president now in Joe Biden. The only thing that I want to warn and advise Black people about is do not take a celebratory lap around and think everything's all right. Because there's a lot of things that need to be done that we got to still continue to put work in and do. When you have an antagonist and when you're uncomfortable, many times you work hard to get out of that uncomfortable situation. But when you have the perception that everything is fine and that you're comfortable, you have a tendency to think everything's okay and not work as hard. We still have all these things that have to happen. People talk about, how this makes us a much better country. Alton Sterling died during the Obama administration. Philandro Castle died during the Obama administration. So just because the person at the top is, somebody who you favor doesn't mean we ain't got work to do. We still got work to do. George Floyd just happened less than 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. So, Joe Biden in office would not have changed that. So we got to really push those initiatives, trying to make sure that the people who are saying they're here for us, hold them to it. Because we as Black people for years voted for people because they had a D by their name.
You're right.
And not thinking about whether they have our best interests at heart. One of the most violent cities in the country, in Chicago, has an exorbitant death rate. I mean, they're talking about 500 some people a year, and most of them are African Americans. And the problem with it is that they've had Democratic leadership for years and years now, and nothing's being done. So what we have to start doing is holding people accountable. And don't take the victory lap. Oh, Biden won. Oh, yeah, now Kamala in office, that's my president, that's my vice president. Okay, so if that is your president, that is your vice president, then make sure you get off your ass and work to make sure that they hear what you're saying and the initiatives that we want to put forth as a community so that we can get some of this stuff repaired and fixed.
Well said, man. True. Once again, appreciate you, April, for the questions. Appreciate you, Gatorlive, to answer them questions. We're going to move on, you guys, to the WTF moment of the week, you guys. I got my guy, Gatorlive, here. He's my guest. You have a WTF moment of the week?
So the biggest WTF moment comes from one of my fellow Baton Rouge natives and somebody that I actually have been in the studio with before, have, talked to, smoked the blunt with a couple times, Boosie. So as everybody knows, tragic death of Mo3 happened earlier in the week. And it was Dallas rapper, lost his life to just senseless violence. And Boosie went down to take part in the release of balloons in the honor of Mo3. And in the process of him being down there, he was in a van, headed to part of the events, and somebody shot at the van. Now, Boosie took a shot in the leg, unfortunately. But he's okay. It could have been worse. Mm-hmm. But the WTF behind this is, we are attending a memoriam for one of our fallen, celebrities or our fallen greats, and this happens. I say, what WTF to the hood, WTF to anybody who felt like this was a time to take part in, you know, the shenanigans and, quite frankly, the niggardry of keeping to perpetuate the violence that's going on in the community. This was not going to do anything but make the scenario worse. So WTF, man. I don't understand why we feel like this is the time, especially at a memoriam, that this is the time to get out there and cause more tragedy and cause more issues. It makes no sense to me.
You heard about that, man. I heard about this story and I was like, wow, Boosie. I had to check on it too. I was like, is he all right? But, you know, of course you said, you know, he got shot just in the leg, unfortunately. But, man, it's crazy though. At a funeral though, like,
yeah,
that's crazy though, man.
Yeah, man.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I can. So the big thing with that is it really does make you want to reflect on, you know, what's causing, what was the purpose for the violence? What was the reason? You know, I think a lot of times, and I've seen it, you know, personally, a lot of times rappers want to be about what they talk about. Mm-hmm. And you know, with that being said, you know, Mo had a family. You know what I'm saying? I mean, these people have families. And not only that, but what if this guy would have dumped into this van and he would have killed somebody in the process of doing that? That person's now without their family or their family member. We already got enough going on with the pandemic and the way it's hitting our community. We already got enough going on with the need for, you know, not just like justice reform, but police reform. We already got enough that we're dealing with as a community to have to deal with being able to not be comfortable with our own brothers and sisters and having to look over our shoulder, you know, in those scenarios. And to me, it's sad.
Right about that, man. It's sad. You already got, like you said, pandemic you got to worry about. And here in D.C., man, it's gun violence, you know, day after day. So, man.
Right. I know D.C. is bad.
Yeah, man. Like, it's crazy. It really is. But you guys, man, I'm going to give you my WTF moment of the week. I read this story and I heard about it. I thought it was crazy. I never flew on a plane a day in my life, though. I want to travel. I want to fly. But American Airlines don't seem like they're going to have a whole lot of people, you know, fucking with them lately. But American Airlines effectively ban all power wheelchair users.
I have been warning about this and you all don't want to listen, and this is what happens. This is why we need your help, TikTok. Please help. American Airlines has just banned traveling in their airplanes to all power wheelchair users, like is my case. What this means is that we cannot go into the airplanes for only one reason, because airplanes are now wheelchair accessible. In 2020, power wheelchair users still need to be transferred from their wheelchair to a normal airplane seat. This means airplanes are now wheelchair accessible. If power wheelchair users could go into the airplane with their wheelchair, this would not happen. That's why I created the petition to try and make airplanes wheelchair accessible. Please, if this doesn't affect you and it didn't affect you, it can affect you in the future. Just think that. So please help us. We need airplanes to be wheelchair accessible.
Wow. That's crazy right there. That was my WTF moment of the week, you guys. But yo, man, here on the 1130 podcast, man, I got my guy Gatorlive here joining me. I appreciate you coming through, chopping it up, chatting with me, and having fun here on the podcast. Before we wrap it up, any shout outs you want to say, anything you want to get off your chest? And also, any questions for me?
Well, first off, I got to make sure I shout out my co-host, Ralston McGee, on the Down 5 podcast. Y'all can always, you know, visit him at Down 5 Podcast on Instagram. And also my co-host is Erica Warren on Dope Discussions with Erica, which again, every, let me give the Down 5 times, by the way. Down 5, we go on at around 11-ish every Saturday, and I say 11-ish because that's what I mean, 11-ish, you know. But yeah, Dope Discussions, we start every Sunday, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central Time. You know, shout out to Erica for being a wonderful co-host. You can actually find her on Instagram at dopediscussions_pod. And again, dopediscussions_pod. And for either one, Down 5 Podcast or for Dope Discussions with Erica, you can actually look us up on Facebook. We are available and we give live times, content from, shows past, all kinds of stuff. Join on and subscribe to the YouTube because those are popping up soon now. Down 5 has a YouTube now, and you can just look up Down 5 Podcast on YouTube and it'll pull up. Dope Discussions has a YouTube as well. Again, Dope Discussions with Erica. Just plug it in your YouTube search and you'll find us. And ignore the other dope discussions on there because everybody want to have dope discussions all of a sudden now. But hey, look, a discussion between two people, and I'm gonna leave it at
that. That's what's up, man. Before we go, any questions you want to ask? Any questions you have for me?
Man, okay, so we kind of talked a little bit about it off air, man. But I'm real interested in some of the projects that you got going on with the wrestling side of things, and we'll probably talk about that in a little bit. But what got you into really putting together a wrestling podcast, man? Because there's not a lot of African Americans in the game right now when it comes to wrestling podcasts. I think it's an awesome thing to do.
That's a good question. That's a really good question. When I actually initially started this podcast right here, for all my subscribers and new people, if you go all the way back to the very first, at the beginning, where, I'm just getting started in a way. Majority of what I was talking about was wrestling. So I was like, okay, excuse me. A lot of people that I'm trying to connect with, or mainly the mainstream people, I guess, don't really, dive into wrestling. And I'm a big wrestling fan, and I have a lot to say. You feel me? Everybody, it's gone off. I'm like, oh, I don't have nobody to talk to about it. So I was like, you know what? Podcast is what it's gonna be. And man, you feel me? It just took off. Everybody was like, man, you got dope topics and great point of views. Been a wrestler since I was 9 years old. I still watch it every week. You feel me? So love it, man. I really, really love it.
Oh man, that's an awesome thing to hear, man. Because I'm going to share it off air. I'm a huge wrestling fan. I was telling you, I haven't missed a WrestleMania live in 27 years. So I'm, I am definitely into that, and it's great to see people of color, especially African Americans, that are actually interested in wrestling. Man, I have so much respect for some of those guys that put it out there. They put everything on the line, man, and just really to entertain people, man. So it's awesome, man. We got to get on a show, man. I'm going to chop it up with you one day because I kind of outspoken about my wrestling stuff too. So
most definitely, man. Most definitely, we're gonna have to set something up, and for you to come on my wrestling podcast, man. Because I'm all for it. I can just talk about wrestling, man.
Oh yeah, man. Definitely, man. We had to, to share a little backstage. We had to kind of cut it short off break because we had been going for about a good 30 minutes just talking about.
You're right. We sure was, man. So I definitely got to get you back. That was a whole nother episode during the break, man.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Gatorlive, man. I appreciate you joining me here on the 1130 podcast, man. I wish you the best in both of your podcasts. Everything you do, stay blessed, stay safe out there, man. And once again, thank you for joining me here on the 1130 podcast.
I appreciate you having me here, man. It's been awesome, and be looking forward to podcast number 3. Now y'all start looking forward to 2021. It's a whole different monster for me. So I'm looking forward to doing that, man. And I appreciate you having me on.
No problem, man. Thank you. Yo, Gator, appreciate you joining me here on the 1130 podcast, man. It was an honor. It was a dope time, man. Real cool guy, man. And like you guys, man, like we was just saying, throughout the commercial break, it was a whole different show, man. For real. That's why I love guys who enjoy wrestling. And when I find out they love wrestling, so I kind of found out that he loved wrestling at the last minute. I was like, oh shit, that's right here, wrestling fan. So I was like, oh, I already know we were gonna talk about it, man. So throughout the commercial break, man, that was a whole entire different show. We talked about wrestling for like 40 minutes, man. So definitely got to get him on my Talk Pro Wrestling podcast. Speaking of talking pro wrestling, you guys don't forget to check out the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling, each and every Friday, where I interview some of your favorite independent referees, ring announcers, you name it, superstars, wrestling fans, man. And we just chat some wrestling, man. It's available on Spotify, Anchor FM, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, man. Don't forget to leave a 5-star rating in Google, 5-star rating in a review. I appreciate it so much. That's the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. And my man Gatorlive, gotta get you on there, man. For real. It was a dope episode. Wish you the best and everything, man. Keep doing your thing. Shout out to Erica. Dope discussions with Erica. And everything, man. Dope time, man. Appreciate you joining me here on the podcast. But you guys, man, don't forget to follow the 1130 podcast on all social media platforms. Follow me on Twitter at Dre on Wheels. Follow the 1130 podcast on Instagram at the 1130 podcast. Like the 1130 podcast on Facebook. Subscribe to the 1130 podcast here on YouTube. And once again, the 1130 podcast Talk Pro Wrestling is available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Just subscribe, follow me, leave a 5-star rating and a review. I appreciate it so much. And if you would like to be a guest here on the 1130 podcast, email me. That's the 1130 podcast at gmail.com. That's the 1130 podcast at gmail.com. And also, man, if you can DM me on social media, man. So once again, Gator Live, appreciate you joining me on the podcast, man. I'm not getting nowhere near his snakes, man. For real. Nowhere near his snakes, man. For real. You got it. But yo, man, it's been a dope episode. I appreciate you guys joining me. I see you guys next Tuesday here on the 1130 podcast. It's your man Dre, aka Dre on Wheels, and I'm out.